Hi, I'm Aura, and I'm the host of Collective Mind. I'm not positive that I'm the only person here. And I also don't know if anyone is in chat or anything yet. But, hi. I actually feel up to doing a live stream today. So I am. Oh, I forgot about Charlie Cam. There we go. I am working on that same scarf that I've made a little progress on in a few different streams, I think. This is technically at the scheduled time that it says on the Twitch schedule for a time that we would do a Q&A if we didn't do a video the day before, which is true in this case. Or otherwise, we might do an extra, like, Twitch stream at that time if we want to that day. It's like an alternate option, but we have not been doing vast majority of scheduled streams, so I don't know if people were expecting it or not. And I don't know if people are available anyway, whether or not they were expecting us to be live. Don't exactly what I'll do for a Q&A stream if nobody ends up in chat, but guess we'll have to figure it out.
Can I know.
Okay.
Can I shut your door?
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna be doing a D&D session.
Okay.
Might get loud, so.
Sounds good. See, what could I just like chat about in the meantime? I don't really know what to just randomly chat about other than the types of stuff that I say for the Patreon vlog, and I don't want to repeat those same things here because I want that to be like exclusive still, you know? Hi, Michael. Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone else is here yet or if anyone else will be able to make it. But I guess we'll find out. Welcome to the stream. Do you have any questions or topics or anything that come to mind? I wonder if I can turn the chair more toward the camera without waking up Charlie. I think I got away with that. Nice. Oh, I'm sorry you usually miss the Patreon streams. The good thing about those is the recordings are still available on Patreon later. Even ones that happened before you joined and stuff. So at least there's that, but it definitely is different than being there live. Is it like a scheduling thing? Like the time that works best for the most people just doesn't tend to work best for you? Hi, the Greys. How is everybody? I'm actually having a pretty good day, which I'm really happy about, because it's a total 180 from yesterday. Trying not to get my hopes up too much, but I feel like I might even be able to film something later after this, which would be really, really nice. Best case scenario, if Primal Pack is available and we both feel up to it and everything, if we could film the next Sanderside's reaction, that would be really good. Because we'd get 2 videos out of it for one thing, but it's also a popular series and everything. And reactions are easier for when I don't really feel like I have things to talk about, you know? Well, if Anna wasn't close already, she's probably going to be soon with the song that's playing, but we'll see. That makes sense. We try, when we remember, to set up the Patreon live streams in advance to schedule them so we can send the link out ahead of time and it shows like the day and time it's going to be and stuff. But then we also we ping the patrons on Discord in the Patreon section of the Discord server. I don't know if you're on there or not, but that's where we send the reminder out. But if we don't remember to set up the link and everything in advance on Patreon, then when the link goes up on Patreon is when we like start the stream. But we try to set it up ahead of time. Yeah, we've had some system stuff going on too. We probably pretty much always do, to be fair. But I was just going over some vlog footage to upload to Patreon and was reminded of some of the system stuff that's been going on. Oh, interesting. You should oh, you might have to connect Patreon to your Discord for it to automatically give you the role that gives you access to the Patreon section on Discord. I think that's what it is. Because it's supposed to automatically do it, but Discord needs to be able to talk to Patreon to do that. Because that's a lot easier than me trying to manually add and remove people whenever they join or leave Patreon, especially because I think most people's name or username on Patreon is different than their one on Discord. So I think it was just yesterday that we finally got the polls up on Patreon for this month's stream and stuff. Okay, yeah. No pressure or anything. You don't have to be a part of the Patreon section of Discord if you don't want to. But that is where we do the reminder ping and stuff. Okay, good. Disconnected for a second, but it should be back. I should have some more of my health potion. Other than reaction type stuff, do any of you have other ideas for things we could make like topic videos about? Getting a little disco. Which isn't ideal because I haven't been live very long. Yeah, Sandersides is definitely on the list that we're going to try to do soon. And then after that would be the next DID in the media. Which I think is another Criminal Minds episode. Our 2-year channel anniversary is also in a few days, and I don't know what to do for that either. Hmm. One of the things that was delaying the next Sandersides is I was worried about, with everything going on with Jaden right now, that some of the things in the next one that would normally be triggers for them would cause problems. But I am, over time, getting less worried about that because they're not responding to most of their normal triggers like normal. So I think it'll be okay. And we can also stop at any point after starting it if we need to, so. And it's not like it would have been like strong bad triggers for them normally anyway. So I don't think I really need to factor that in. They are more work to edit than most other videos. Oh crap, that's part of why I'm crashing. I was supposed to take meds again and I didn't. I will be right back when I'm done doing that. Okay, I'm back. I did it. Should check that off my list. I know I was also frustrated because some of the videos that we were, like topic videos that we were planning to do next, were also going to deeply involve Jaden. So that was like I have to change the plan somewhat. And I don't know for some of them if we should just make the videos anyway without Jaden's input, especially if it's ones that that the plan wasn't for Jaden specifically to film them, just to have their like input on it. Or if we should wait in case none of the stuff going on with them is permanent, or even if they split or fuse or something, if one or more of the resulting alters wants to still be the one to do that. I don't know. But there's also nothing stopping us from having, like, even if I make a video on a topic and then Jaden in a few months wants to make a video on the same topic, they can make a video about their perspective of it, or like a part 2 type thing. If there's stuff that I didn't think of that they want to add. So, I don't know. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know if or how things will resolve with Jaden, unfortunately. I hope so too. Even if they need to split or fuse or go dormant for a while or whatever. It's definitely one of those things where it really highlights just how many different areas they are personally involved with. Once that absence is there, it is very heavily felt. I mean, the overview version is basically that Jaden has been ridiculously overworked for their whole existence, including before fusing into Jaden, as Michael and really as Natalie too. And a big part of their job was functioning through that. And then they kind of hit a wall where they couldn't keep functioning through it. The way that I'm kind of thinking about it right now is they are kind of being forced to be only a trauma holder right now, because they're one of our major trauma holders too, and not able to do any of their other roles in the meantime. Hmm. We're starting to figure out how to fill in some of the gaps. And figuring out which ones are the highest priority. And which ones are the most, like, specialized, I guess, that are the hardest for someone else to fill in. But it's been like a couple months now, I think. I can't even really be totally sure that they haven't, like, split or fused or anything yet. But not that I know of. But, like, in a roundabout way, it's kind of a good sign for the place that we're in, that our brain doesn't think we need Jaden to be able to, like, function through anything that's happening, no matter the triggers or anything going on, because that means on some level that our brain thinks we're safe enough that Jaden can actually, like, process and deal with some of the trauma they already hold, you know? Yeah, um, it's, there are parts of existing as a system that, like, create, like, to-do list things, I guess, that wouldn't exist for a singlet. Like, anything related to the inner world, basically anything related to, like, communication or interpersonal relationships within the system itself. And then trauma related stuff could also exist in a singlet. Obviously, singlets can have trauma, but a lot of that uh, takes a lot of like space too, if that makes sense. But there's also like there are barriers in our brain that stop certain alters from being able to do things other alters can do. So, like, there are people Jaden could communicate with who no one else can communicate with. And our brain won't let me or Jade or anybody else, at least so far, communicate with them at all. And there are, like, places in our inner world where it's the same thing, where some people can go to those places and some people can't, and like they either won't be able to find it or it won't physically exist. If they try to go to that place, it just won't be there, or it'll be like what. And yeah, I don't know, it's complicated. There's a lot going on in our inner world at pretty much any given moment. And I am almost always unaware of at least 99% probably of what's going on, often unaware of all of it. But then even the like day-to-day life stuff that singlets also have to deal with, like some of us are specialized enough in how we exist and how we function to be especially good at some of those things, well equipped for some of those things, and very much not well equipped for other things. And what am I saying? I guess like I can't do all of the external day-to-day life things on my own either, because I'm not like well equipped for all of it, but I also have limited energy and stuff. But like if you just plucked me out of my system and put me in a different body by myself, I wouldn't be able to function by myself. Because that's not how my brain works. I might eventually be able to like slowly increase the amount that I can do, but yeah, I tried earlier on, once I learned about the system in general, to keep track of more of the stuff that was going on inside consistently, and it made me a much worse host. And I still didn't know a huge percentage of what was going on inside. Like a big chunk of that time, I didn't know we had subsystems. So whole areas of our inner world that I didn't even know existed, a bunch of altars I didn't know existed. And no one in our system keeps track of all of it. The closest we have to keeping track of all of it would probably be Rex, the main gatekeeper, like the leader of the group of main gatekeepers, basically. The alpha of the wolf pack of gatekeepers. But he doesn't keep track of specific details really at all. He just kind of tries to keep track of an overview of the general like type of thing that's going on overall in major areas. And then he can use that to help delegate other people to go check in on altars who might need help with something and stuff. Yeah. I have no idea what Final Fusion would be like for us, and we're not working toward that. I don't think it would be doable for us, and I don't think we would want it even if it was. And it would be an unreal amount of work. And even if we wanted to work toward it, it would be like years of really intense therapy work for it to be remotely doable, because we couldn't just like smush everybody together right now and exist like that. Our brain wouldn't let us, but even if our brain did let us, we couldn't just suddenly have one person know all of the trauma stuff and function at all. We would split again immediately. But there's also really complicated interpersonal stuff that can get in the way of fusion and stuff. Like, we have alters who really don't like each other and probably couldn't fuse without like repairing their relationship to at least a neutral point. And there's so many really important close relationships between different alters in our system who are family or in love with each other or really close friends and things like that, that like there's a type of grieving process if there's fusions that like interrupt and change those relationships. I tend to generally be unaware of everything going on in the inner world unless someone specifically thinks I need to know and comes and tells me, or if something's happening close enough to the front that I start noticing that something's happening and then start trying to figure out what it is. But it's really distracting from the stuff I need to be doing out here if I'm constantly trying to look inside and figure out what's Jade doing right now, what's Anna doing right now. And then the answers to a lot of those questions would also be stressful and overwhelming. Because, like, the answer is going to usually include at least one person having a flashback, at least one person having some other breakdown of some kind, at least one, like, fight happening, you know? Yeah, we are nowhere near the level of trauma processing that it would take for us to be remotely on the table for final fusion. And even if we were, like I said, I don't think we'd want it anyway. And we have trauma holders who I don't know if they'll ever tell anyone what their trauma is. Although my therapist says that some trauma work at least can be done without talking about the specifics of the trauma at all, but just kind of focusing on how it impacts you now. We had therapy yesterday, and we usually don't schedule other things to actively do on therapy days, like after therapy, because it's a toss up of like how functional we'll be. But yesterday was a pretty good example of how bad it can be. We were listening to music during therapy, like in the background, and a song happened to come on that was a really bad trigger, and that one song coming on, like, spiraled into a bunch of triggers for different people and a bunch of flashbacks for basically the rest of the day. And it sucked. Yeah, I trust a few people, including Jade, to tell me if I need to know something. Like, one of the big ones would be if I have kids inside, and if one of my kids had something going on that I needed to know about. Jade and a few others have promised me that they wouldn't keep that from me. Like if one of my kids split or something. Yeah. Sometimes therapy days end up looking like that, but sometimes it's overall productive. It just sucks at the time, you know? Like we also had a trauma holder who hadn't been in therapy yet talk a little bit about their trauma in some ways, and like that might have been a really important step for them to do some processing and stuff, but didn't make yesterday any easier. And it sucked because when I woke up, I felt like yesterday might have been a decent day and like I might feel okay and have some motivation and be able to like film or stream or something. But then that threw a wrench in everything. I'm not an expert, but I think that for whatever it's worth, that if there aren't symptoms that you think could be trauma related that are like interfering with your life actively, that looking for trauma that may or may not be in your personal history as a system or a singlet is not like helpful or productive, you know? And if there are things you need to process, uh, and they are currently completely unknown to you and not affecting you negatively in your day-to-day life, then you are probably not ready to process them yet, and you'll know. You know what I mean? Like, maybe not that you'll know for sure, like maybe not that it'll be obvious that it's time to process something, but like I think the symptoms will like make you aware one way or another if you need to be. And I wish I had done less looking personally, so I'm sure I'm biased in that way, but I didn't believe at first. Like, it didn't make any sense to me that I would not want to know, even though my system kept telling me that I didn't want to know. And now I know a little bit, and I didn't want to know. And that couldn't click until I knew. But Trauma sucks. Like, I'm not mad at any of the people in my system who told me. And I don't know if I could have stopped poking at it without learning at least some of it. But maybe I could have, maybe it would have been enough eventually for me to like watch some of our trauma holders have flashbacks in the front, for instance, and see how bad it is for them and be able to like put together that I wouldn't be like stronger or whatever than them. Like it wouldn't be easier for me. But it's hard too because a lot of what I know is because I can't completely get out of the front and because somebody was processing like in therapy or with Primal Pack. And I know because I'm like forced to eavesdrop all the time. And I don't wish that they didn't process stuff, you know? I wish I didn't have to be there. Yeah, I'm glad some of the mental health stigmas are starting to lessen with time. But it's improving disproportionately depending on how, probably somewhat on how common specific problems are and how like how easily they can still kind of fit into society. Like people don't care as much anymore about people saying that they have like anxiety or depression unless it's actually like visibly interfering with their life, and then they're like, I don't know that you can like blame your depression that you can't get out of bed, you know? Like that TikTok going around all the time of like people's depression gets so bad they can't brush their teeth. People's depression gets so bad they end themselves. You know? People not like grasping with that. Looks like, ooh, I'm not just Aura anymore. It's mostly Jade now, I think. So I'm just gonna fix that. I just suddenly had a second where I heard my voice and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. because it's that weird thing of like, so many people seem to have the idea that, like, I don't care if you have the thing, but you shouldn't, like, also have symptoms of the thing, which is so weird. Like, oh, you have ADHD, no big deal. Why can't you focus in class? Why are you multitasking when I'm trying to talk to you? Why do you lose track of time so easily? It's like, what did you think that meant? Like, if I have I definitionally have symptoms of the thing that I told you I have. I don't know. I think some people probably just can't imagine experiences that are so different from theirs. And so they assume it's the closest thing they can compare it to that they themselves have experienced. Like, I've felt sad before, so I know what depression is like, kind of mindset. I've, like, lost my train of thought before, or stopped focusing when somebody was talking to me, so that must be all that ADHD is. That type of reasoning, which then just minimizes what those actual disorders are like. But I think there's also probably a category of people being used to, like, basically generational trauma, of people being used to how those things are talked about, like calling those things lazy and whatever else. And they've, like, internalized that, either because those things were said to them and they had to find a way to push through it and figure it out, and I never got to take a mental health day type logic, or because they've just seen so many people who they care about and otherwise respect say those things even to other people around them, that that's like the normal response to them, you know? But there's such a weird disconnect that a lot of people seem to have of, like, it would be like with accommodations, for instance, for disabilities, that it's like unfair to other people who don't have those disabilities and don't get those accommodations, but that it's also like going to make those disabled people not try as much, as though if you don't give them the accommodation, they'll just pull themselves up by their bootstraps and figure it out themselves, and that will be like a good life experience for them. But they can't make the connection that two main things. Some people will be forced, if they don't get accommodations, to find a way to do that, but it will be to their detriment. Like, it will make them worse, it'll make them burned out. Like the equivalent of like pushing yourself too hard when you're already sick, or like pushing like an injury too hard physically and making it worse type thing. Even if you can make yourself push through it and figure out a way to do it anyway. Charlie's getting herself some water. It's like bad for you, and it'll make you progressively less and less able to do that and need more and more help later. But there's also the category of people who flat out can't do that. Like, there isn't a way for them to be able to work, period. And if they don't get help, they won't just suddenly be able to work, because they'll figure something out, and they'll, like, a lot of those people end up homeless, a lot of those people die. Like, there's so many people who can't seem to understand that, like, there are actual inabilities to do things, you know? I have really good communication with Aura, and I am often at least a little bit aware of what's going on in the front when we're streaming or in public or things like that, as part of my job as primary external protector. So I tend to be at least around enough that I would know pretty quickly if, like, if a troll was in chat and was saying horrible things to Aura or something, I'd be able to switch or at least help her deal with that. Not always, but usually. Sometimes it would be someone else other than me. I was around. I was one of the ones who was triggered really badly yesterday, and I haven't been totally all the way inside since then. I don't know that Aura even realized I was still that close, but I can't always get a ton of detail from Aura necessarily, from her memories, but I get a general awareness pretty easily from her. But that was also the type of switch where I was, like, pulled into the conversation before I was actually fronting. So I was, like, contributing from inside and giving Aura things to say and stuff like that, and just kind of seamlessly, like, traded places with her as we were continuing the conversation, because I was getting more into it than she was. And then I just suddenly realized that I wasn't just feeding her things to say anymore. I was actually the one fronting and saying them. But if it wasn't like that, like if I was just suddenly pulled into the front but hadn't been around before then, I often take a second to, like, check with Aura if there's anything I need to know that's been going on. And I usually just get the really general of, like, okay, we're streaming, listening to music. This seems like the topic we're talking about. Okay, got it. You know? Which, if I was triggered into the front, also can help with grounding. So I could be like, okay, whatever that trigger is making me think is happening, I'm actually sitting at my desk listening to music, doing a live stream. We've been pretty productive today. Hi, is it Lutetia? Lutetia? Something like that? Hi. That sounds like it really sucks. I'm sorry. I want to change the music we're listening to, and I'm trying to decide if that's a good instinct to like listen to stuff that I like and help stay grounded and stuff like that, or if that's a bad instinct that's going to make me drawn towards like negative triggers of mine. Because I can't always tell the difference right away. But I don't think the stuff I'm thinking about would be in the negative category, really. There's still a decent amount of this color left. That's how far we are on this now. I think we've done a good inch or two. That's good. Oh, autocorrect. Were you trying to say blending, maybe? Yeah. Those are the most comfortable switches, I would say, when we like blend first and have like a fluid switch that we don't really dissociate through, and that doesn't take a super long time. What was I just gonna do? I guess I should add my name to the title. That's one thing I could do. I swear there was something else I was just gonna do, though. Oh, I was gonna change music. That's what it is. What did I put in here? That could work, but what's that other one that I want to add to that? Okay. Stations, this one. Alright, I'll let this song finish first. Charlie, why are you laying on the floor? You're not on camera. These nice people want to watch you sleep. There you go. No, no, no. Not over here. You've got a perfectly comfortable spot right there. No, I'm fine. And so are you. You can just take another nap. Don't get mad at me. It's okay. Yeah, we really like knitting and crocheting. We've been knitting longer kind of in two ways. We learned knitting first, and then fairly soon after we started like more consistently knitting for a while, we learned a little bit of basic crochet but didn't stick with it as quickly, so we didn't learn as much of it at first. And then kept knitting for a while, took some breaks on and off where we didn't do much of either one, and then kind of picked up crocheting again and started teaching ourselves more of it and stuff. But it's a lot more flexible in our experience, especially for things like stuffed animals and stress balls and things like that. Like this. It's a little cupcake. I'm gonna show you over here so I don't mess up the autofocus, but this has like a funfetti look to that yarn, which I think is really cute. And then you can actually kind of move this around a little bit and fidget with it. That one's ours, but we're probably gonna make more of those for Etsy too. What? You gonna be that mad at me till I bring you up here? I feel like you did that the last time I streamed too. Okay. I have this here already. It's a good sign. I'm gonna do Charlie's favorite thing. I'm gonna mute while I finish setting this up because I think it'll be really loud otherwise. Okay. Oh, oops. Why did I let another song play? I didn't mean to. And I'm not listening to the rest of this because I'm going to forget to change the music again. Sorry, not sorry. I am muted, right? Yeah, okay. Come here. I'm taking this pillow from you. It's going to be good, I promise. Oh no, don't scratch my wheelchair. Come here. I have to take that leash off of you. Come here. Don't try to crawl on my desk, though. Come here. Try me. What are you doing? There's nothing over there for you. There you go. Just get comfortable. Yep. Good job. Do you not want to be up after all that? You begged me to come over here. Are you gonna just try to leave right now? Because that'd be pretty rude. What you doing? Okay, you're definitely trying the task now. Why? I'm fine. That's pretty cute. You're pulling Alina. Stop it. Turn off the cute. No. No, I'm okay. Don't lick off all my moisturizer. I'm sorry you're sad. Did I do something? Is it Charlie's fault? Okay, are you satisfied now at the state of the world? Okay. Can I knit again? Will you let me? Nothing to see here. Uh-huh. You don't actually want to be up here, do you? Charlie, you're taking over the stream. What's going on? Here. Did you just want to look around but didn't actually want to be up here? Is that plenty comfortable after all? What? Don't look at me like that when you just asked to go back over there. Are you kidding me? Why? I'm okay. Just lay down. Good job. Okay. What am I doing? I really like this, like, lap counter thing that we got. Because it's for our wheelchair, but it fits on our desk chair too. Don't yell at me. You're fine. What? Nothing pleases you. Hey. Quiet. You're alright. Do you want to come back up here after all? Have you made up your mind this time? Come on. Pick a spot, get comfortable. Ideally without whipping me in the face with your tail too much. Uh-huh. So the pillow's the problem. Charlie, it's okay. There you go. Now is everything okay? This counter thing that we got for our wheelchair is really, really nice for like having a flat surface that we can use instead of our lap for moving stuff around in our wheelchair, but also nice for like eating at our desk, and Charlie really likes when we do this. I'm not sure what you mean, Melissa, but welcome to the stream. Oh, I can see if I can sneak this past you. There we go. The angle is bad. I don't know if this is gonna work. I don't know if this is gonna work. This is a really awkward angle now with her there. Has everyone seen our latest switching compilation that we did for reaching 500 subscribers? I might have to just completely block Charlie. Oh, well, here. Will this work? Okay. That might actually work. She loves that. Then the angle is a little bit better for my arm. Charlie, I think you have some fans. Okay. You're the boss, I guess. Trying to do this without hitting her with the knitting needles, but also without hurting my arms. That took a little while to edit, the switching compilation. Because there were so many rapid switches that Aura kept like watching them a few times to try to figure out where exactly the switch looks like it happened, and then trying to add all the little text things of like, okay, that's still Aura, that's kind of a little bit Aura, that's definitely not Aura anymore, that's Aura again probably. We like making those though. it can be nice to go through, especially the live stream footage that we haven't edited yet, and like figure out what stuff we can add to like add more context for stuff that's happening and point out when switches happen and everything. Hi, is it Faven? Faven, maybe? As always, feel free to correct me if I say your name horribly wrong. I think she's happy about her throne. Every time we do Q&A streams, we worry that no one will come. And that we'll just be sitting here trying to think of things to say until we eventually give up. That's part of why we often sit on the starting screen for a little bit. There's also stuff that we're like setting up in the background while that's up, usually. Like we're making sure the link goes on Discord and everything. But we also sometimes sit for a little bit to see if anybody will say anything in chat. We were so switchy when we first started playing Genshin Impact. I'm glad we didn't stay that switchy as we continued to play it. That would have been hard to manage. I think my favorite part was when Aura called a bunch of us sarcastic assholes. I think it was pretty interesting that, like, in addition to all of those rapid switches and stuff, we also had at least one, I think, really long, drawn-out switch where, like, I think it was Natalie was really dissociated and couldn't, like, finish switching with somebody for a while. So, like, there would be 30-second clips that had, like, 4 switches in them, and then it would go to, like, a 2-3 minute clip of Natalie trying to switch that whole time, you know? The long dissociated ones really suck. Especially if we're trying to actively do anything. Like if we're trying to talk to chat or play a game or whatever. Those are easier if we're like watching something. Or just kind of existing. How we managed switches in public? That's a good question. That was a big part of... Well, okay. So the like first thing about that would be that a lot of us who weren't host did know about the system and could like consciously help with switches generally, and managing the front and our mask and everything was a huge part of Michael's job, which Michael is one of the alters who fused into Jaden. I know we were talking about Jaden a little bit earlier in the stream, but Michael was primary protector basically before we used any of those like actual names for roles. And a huge part of his job was like just being around the front a lot, keeping track of enough information about what's going on that he could fill in people who switched if they didn't know what was going on. Especially before Aura was host and front stuck, because that part got a little bit more automatic once Aura was host and front stuck, because then even when she didn't realize that's what was happening, a lot of us would figure out what was going on by like asking her. And she like it, how do I explain that? She thought that it was the type of thing of like, wait, what am I doing? Oh yeah, I'm sorting these things at work. Like, she thought it was that like normal, oh, I spaced out for a second and I forgot what I was doing. What am I doing again? Things, but she was actually filling in people who switched with her or switched with someone else while she was there. And what am I saying? So like more recently, during the years, like as a teenager and young adult, before Aura knew, but after she became host, that was one of the major ways, but Michael was still very involved then too. But especially before then, it was a big part of Michael's job to manage the front, make sure people knew what was going on when they needed to, but also to like enforce rules about the front, if that makes sense. Like, he would like tell someone who was fronting to like go take a break in the bathroom for a minute or two at work and listen to a trigger song for somebody who could better handle the situation that was going on. And Aura knew about that without knowing about the system. She knew there were times where she was supposed to listen to specific music to be able to do whatever was happening. That she would be like overwhelmed or starting to have a panic attack or something, and she was supposed to listen to a specific song, and it was gonna make her able to like continue functioning, but it was actually triggering someone who could take over for like someone who was having a flashback, for instance. And Michael also like made sure that our mask would stay intact and stuff, and could very easily in most situations, and would, when needed, rapid switch with someone to stop them from like doing or saying something that would give something away in a lot of cases. So but there's an extent to which most people are surprisingly oblivious. Because the average person isn't expecting to see switches randomly in public. And even like people who just weren't random strangers in public but knew us personally very well had all kinds of like excuses and reasons that they assumed it was, like if our voice sounded different or our mood changed a lot or whatever. Like we had family say a little bit after we told some of our family about the system, we had some of our family say, wait a second, that's why you sound like a kid sometimes. And I don't know if they thought that we were just like doing a silly voice, because I know that's something that a lot of people think, or that like their voice just gets lower when they're in a bad mood, maybe, because like if I or Michael, I as Primal especially, if I or Michael in particular were fronting and dropped our mask enough that our voices got lower than Aura's, there were people who knew us pretty well who seemed to associate that with us being in a bad mood, because we'd be more likely to be a little like snappy with people because we were triggered or trying to make sure they didn't ask the right probing questions and make any connections and stuff like that. But yeah. We had flashbacks at work and people didn't notice anything. Or if they did, nobody said anything. Like we would sit in the break room during our like lunch break and stuff at work at our most recent full-time job and put our head like on our arms like this on the table and listen to music trying to ground and just like have whatever flashback we had been triggered about at some point. That's part of what I think we said this in a video somewhat recently, but we used to literally schedule flashbacks and breakdowns and stuff like that. That was a huge part of Michael's job and Jaden's job to an extent since that fusion, and part of why it's arguably a good thing that our brain doesn't think we still need Jaden to be able to do that, because it wasn't at all good for us, but it's how we worked. Oh yeah, most people probably know someone with DID, but vast majority of people don't know that they know someone with DID. Which is why so many people are still convinced it's super rare. But like, there's an extent to which it tends to be covert, obviously, but there's also an extent to which people are so oblivious. Like the number of times we realized halfway through a conversation before Aura even knew about the system that we had referred to ourselves as we, and nobody said anything, and Aura didn't even notice. Or occasionally she would like start to think about that and be like, I guess I was talking about me and Charlie. Because she's our service dog and she'd be with us at work and stuff like that. Oh yeah, there was a lot of like built-in denial mechanisms and amnesia mechanisms, obviously, that kept Aura from knowing about the system, and before her kept Anna and Natalie for a while, I think, from knowing about the system. But there was also like active stuff that Michael in particular was doing to keep that secret. Like even little things, like he pushed really hard for anyone who was in the front area who needed information from Aura to ask in terms that would sound like she was talking to herself and not sound like someone else was asking her something. Like, I would switch and say, like, what am I doing again? Instead of, hey, what have you been doing? What's going on? You know? All kinds of things like that. Including a lot of gaslighting. Michael did a lot of gaslighting of Aura in particular and other alters for different reasons to steer her away from any realization she might have otherwise stumbled on, you know? And he was really good at making it sound like negative self-talk instead of gaslighting. Because again, he would put it all in I terms so that she would think she was like thinking to herself. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know what I was thinking. Type things. Yeah. That's why it was such a big part of Michael's and then Jaden's job until recently to be able to function through triggers absolutely under any circumstances when fronting. And in most circumstances inside, unless they were by themselves inside at a time that they planned to have whatever flashbacks they put off, you know? Michael pushed us really hard, but he didn't push anyone harder than he pushed himself. Not even close. And that's one of the things that keeps him solidly in the persecutor-protector category when I think back about him, you know? Because, like, intentions were a big part of that. That's always what he was trying to do. But also because he had higher standards for himself than anyone else, you know? At a job that we had earlier than that, years ago, there was a stretch of time where, like, the playlist that was shuffling constantly all day at that job included a song that was a very strong negative trigger. And we had to function through working and hearing that song throughout like an 8-hour shift. Probably at least once an hour at work. Every day we were there. For like a couple months or something, probably. That was very brutal. But like that's also part of why Michael would push us to try to desensitize ourselves somewhat to triggers that were remotely likely to come up unexpectedly in life in front of other people. No, we were like a cashier. We had no say over what music played. Like that was decided at like the corporate level. We couldn't change that. Oh, hey, do you want us to try to remember that and call you Aqua here or call you Born a Beanie here? Is that what it says? Yeah. Should probably put my glasses on, but I don't want to. But like triggers would also come up like on the radio in front of our family and all kinds of stuff. Okay, cool. Yeah, a lot at least of what Michael used to do was needed at least some of the time that he did it. Some of it might have been more than was needed, but there's no way to tell, and the consequences of guessing wrong where that line was would have been way worse than like just making absolutely sure that it wasn't going to be that bad, you know? Because, like, we technically could have flipped a coin to find out what would have happened if we had a very obvious flashback in the middle of a workday in front of a bunch of coworkers and customers. And it's technically possible it would have been fine and everybody would have been understanding and nobody would have asked too many questions and they would have just been like, here, let me help you to the break room. Why don't you take your break early and let me know if you need to go home and whatever. Like it might have been fine. But if it wasn't, it would have been so bad. Hey, Ashley. Oh yeah, no worries. No one ever has to say who's fronting if they don't want to. If people do, we try to call them by name because I know we like that. I really should put my glasses on. I'm straining so much to read the chat over there and I can't lean in as much now that I have Charlie over here. And it's not doing anything weird with the light either, as far as I can tell, so it should be fine. For people who just jumped in, we were talking some about what stuff used to be like before Aura knew about the system. Like what it was like if we switched in public and stuff. And some about what Michael's job used to be. Someone thought a boar was a lion. I feel like those wouldn't look anything alike, but okay. Maybe it would actually be easier to like work on crocheting this with Charlie there, because I might be able to do that closer to my body now that she's rolled over that way. I think I made a good call with the music I'm listening to. It's like the right genre that I like, but it's nothing really that would like pull anyone except like the more gentle of like, oh yeah, I'm in the mood to listen to that song type thing. It's not going to launch anybody into the front. Does depressed aura sound like me? Yeah, thank you. We got really excited about reaching 500. It feels like a pretty big milestone because it's halfway to 1,000, which is when YouTube lets you make money. And I think we've met all of the other requirements we would need for it. I was pleasantly surprised that we kept getting more subscribers even when we weren't like doing anything on the channel. Means if we get our act together and actually start posting stuff, then maybe we'll get even more. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if Aura sounds like me and says that they're Aura, it might be that I or someone who sounds more like me is very close and she might not even know that and is influencing her mood and voice a lot. Charlie, do you mind not kicking me in the stomach? It's pretty rude. Oh yeah, no worries, Ashley. I didn't expect us to feel up to streaming this long, but I'm pleasantly surprised. Oh yeah, that's pretty late, 4 a.m. That's around when we've been going to bed lately, 3 or 4. With the occasional 7 a.m. rolled in there for fun. I hope we can film something today. That'd be really nice. Well, that's nice. I hope you're having fun with your vacation. Or if it hasn't started yet, that you do once it starts. Yeah, this is a separate camera for Charlie. Maybe we should put a little border around that. Now that we don't have it in the bottom corner where it looks a little bit more like it just kind of blends in. Uh-oh. Am I losing my ability to function? Do people have more questions for me? Or for us in general, even if you don't know if I would know the answer? So I think that's both of you who were here right away. It's the middle of the night for both of you. Okay. Sorry about the insomnia. That sucks. Well, even though it was cut short, I hope it was still fun. Can you hear Charlie snoring? Looks like the mic is picking up on it. Ashley, I thought you were going to bed. Something about being very sleepy. Let Charlie be the inspiration. Okay, good job. Then you are absolutely doing the right thing by still watching the stream. I think we were gonna get in on that too, Ashley. I think they were doing something else, but that might be done now because that was at the very beginning of the stream. So like 2 hours ago. Ashley is semi-local. We're in the same country. But we met online around the time that we met Primal Pack, well before we started the channel and stuff. Not to like encourage you not to sleep, Ashley, but we can be available if that would be the thing that stops it from happening. I don't know how much longer I would stream anyway. Yeah, I do think you knew Primal Pack at least a little bit before we did. We watch stuff together on Discord. Same way we do Patreon movie nights. I mean, I think Ashley is also a fan of the channel. But yeah, we're friends, which is why she is a mod. Oh yeah, also the tech expert we sometimes recruit when we get stuck on something. But yeah, we met Ashley and Primal Pack and a few other people on a different mental health server. The first server we ever joined on Discord before we even really knew what Discord was. Well before we had our own server or channel. like a year and a half before that. Not even close to famous, Ashley, if that's what you're talking about. I don't know if we would even do well if our stuff got popular enough that we were getting like real significant attention. That could be pretty stressful. Well, this is getting close to long enough. Because I know it was very soon after we joined Discord, which was spring, maybe very early summer of 2020. And we didn't start the channel until almost August of 2021. Because we are a few days away from the 2-year channel anniversary. We were planning the channel before then, but at first we thought we weren't going to start it until we moved. But then we ended up... I think we asked people actually on Discord what they thought of us starting it with a bad background and not as good of tech stuff and everything. Yeah, but 500 subscribers on YouTube is nowhere near the bar for being famous. I don't know how hard it would be for us to handle the stuff that tends to come along with being actually significantly popular online. Like the amount of trolls and hate and stuff that tends to be involved with that at that point, especially if it happened really fast. Like if we had one video or something that really blew up for some reason and suddenly we had, you know, hundreds of comments that we were going through and some of them unexpectedly would be really nasty, that would be a lot. Well, you are the designated expert, so I guess we're famous then. I have just now hereby designated you the expert. This is an almost complete headband. Yep, all things, no specialties. Or all the specialties, depending on your perspective. Okay, hi. What? You have very big eyes. What? Charlie looks like she's having big feelings. I don't know what they are. Okay, yeah, there you go. Good job. Any update on if we're watching a movie? And also, in case we are about to end stream for that or any other reasons, do people have any other questions before then? Did you feel the yarn when I pulled more? I'm sorry to have disturbed you. It's my bad. That's cute. She's really showing off for the stream today. Okay, no worries. I can definitely tell you from experience that they do not always see messages right away when they are playing games. Yeah, I wouldn't have strong preferences about what we start with, and we haven't seen vast majority of them, I think. I'm sure we have some littles who would want to watch one of the ones we have seen that we already know we like, but they are also excited about seeing new ones, so. Especially since we've watched some of the ones that we've already seen with Primal Pack already. Charlie, you were laying on the yarn. Which, you know, is pretty rude. Oh wait, I just did a few more without measuring again. Crap. That's too big. Uh-oh. Nope, that's wrong. How long did I dissociate and just keep going? Watch it now somehow be too short again. That's pretty much perfect. Okay, cool. That's a very good view of Charlie. Let's try to add the little border for her and see how it goes. Image. Charlie cam border. It's too big and in the wrong spot and everything. I need to move it first so that it goes behind Charlie cam. Interesting. I think Charlie cam is cropped incorrectly. Oh, it's probably because it's right up against the thing. Then group these as, if I can type correctly, Charlie. What? Didn't let me do that. Rename Charlie full. Okay. It might be a little bigger than it needs to be. Oh, good night, Michael. We almost never wear our glasses. We're trying to wear them more because it's probably bad for us to be straining our eyes all the time. But we got out of the habit of wearing them once we weren't working anymore, because we didn't usually wear them much around the house before then, and we mostly just wore them for work and stuff. If we drove, we would need to wear them to drive, but kind of barely. So, like, it's not bad enough that it makes us not able to function day-to-day life, but it's bad enough that it's kind of hard to read the chat if I don't, like, lean forward more than is comfortable with Charlie in this position. And so especially when we're, like, reclining our chair and stuff and still trying to do stuff on our computer, we're trying to be nicer to our eyes than that. But yeah, we need a little help seeing stuff far away. I wasn't wearing them at the start of the stream. But then I realized I was straining to read the chat, so I caved and put them on. Hmm. We have trouble seeing stuff small and or far away, which I think is nearsighted, but not by a lot. But like if I'm sitting this far back from my computer monitor and the default size of the text, I have to like squint and strain and stuff to read it. I think it's nearsighted when distance is what's impaired and close up is fine, which always sounds backwards to me. But I think that's what it is. Because when it's near, I have sight. But like we're trying to keep our glasses actually at our desk now, so we can, at the drop of a hat, be like, I'm straining my eyes right now and I don't need to be, and just put them on, and we don't have to go like try to find them somewhere. But like, we used to wear them for work, but if we forgot them one day, it was gonna be fine. We were just like not gonna see stuff as easily far away, which wasn't a big deal usually, and we'd be more likely to get a headache because we'd be straining our eyes more. So hopefully, if we get back in the habit of wearing them more, instead of straining our eyes, we might actually get fewer headaches by a tiny bit, which would be really nice. So many things like that seem so obvious that we're trying to remind ourselves that we can do to make things easier. Like, I don't have to keep my glasses somewhere else for some reason. I can keep them the place where I'm the most likely to need them. And also where they're like in my line of sight often. So even if I don't think of it on my own, I might see them on my desk and be like, oh yeah, have I been straining my eyes? I can put my glasses on instead. Just this morning, we moved some stuff around by our bathroom sink to put our we have like a basket that we have our face routine stuff in, like our face wash and our moisturizer and other similar related things. Like we have some face masks and stuff like that in there. And we made room by our sink and moved that over there for it to just live there now. So that hopefully when we are like getting up in the morning and getting ready for bed and stuff at night, it'll be more doable when we're like in our wheelchair going past that sink anyway, after like going to the bathroom and stuff, that it's just right there and I can be like, yeah, I feel good enough to wash my face and stuff right now, but I probably wouldn't have felt good enough to go get it from where it used to live, bring it back to the sink, do it, and then bring it back to where it used to live. And if we're gonna go do face masks with Primal Pack or whatever, it's still in that basket. We can still very easily bring it somewhere else. But its default spot is where we will probably use it the most. Yeah, no worries, Ashley. But like, that's the type of thing that we sometimes underestimate how much of an impact it has on like our depressive symptoms. Oh, hi Charlie. Okay. What you doing? Yes, hi. But like, when we can manage to do things like that, it will probably make us feel better, at least to some extent, the rest of the day, you know? And like, so far today, that has definitely been the case. We've had a very, very productive start to our day so far. Did that stuff. I think we threw a load of laundry in. We edited a vlog. We're doing this stream. Might still film something. Are you thirsty again? You look thirsty. Okay. I am not your water bowl. Okay. Well, I think I did at least one last call for questions, and I don't see any. But obviously you can always put them in comments or on Discord or whatever, and we can either respond right away. We have a whole channel on Discord for asking us or Primal Pack questions directly. Or if it's a longer thing, we could like make a video about it. Which we would like video ideas too, because even though we have a list of ideas already, getting some new ones might help with our inspiration for making more videos. So if you think of any, we definitely want to hear them. And suggestions don't make us do anything if we don't want to do it, so. Yeah. All that stuff that I said, and then I'll probably do the end screen thing to make sure I don't forget anything, but subscribe, watch the switching compilation if you haven't yet. It's an interesting one. And keep an eye out for, fingers crossed, more streams and videos on the schedule that we're trying to do starting now or soon, hopefully. Because we would very much like to be more on top of that. But yeah, I'm gonna go for now, and hopefully we'll either have a video for Thursday or do another Q&A stream like this either on Thursday or Friday. So yeah, thanks for everybody hanging out and everybody who had questions and topics and stuff, gave us things to talk about, and maybe we'll manage to even do a Genshin stream tomorrow, because that would be nice. I don't think we've even opened the new update yet, because we got frustrated that we missed the end of the banner that we were wishing on, that we were really close to getting a 5-star that we wanted. But I don't know if we've even looked at what the new 5-star options are. Maybe we'll be even more excited about one of those. So yeah, yeah, that's the stuff to keep an eye out for, I guess. And for those of you who are on Patreon, or if any of you want to be, the polls for the monthly live stream and the monthly movie night are both up right now. I put them up yesterday, and I think they're up through Wednesday and like Thursday morning or something. So yeah, that's probably everything once I do the end screen thing. So yeah, thanks again for hanging out. Bye.